Rosie, my sweet sister, has been so long, and I'm so excited to have this podcast with you because I know you being a hermit in a
Hmm.
way. You have decided to go into the cave. I don't know, maybe for the last 6, 9 months, and
Yeah.
I know this is your first public appearance after all
Ooh.
this time. I was guided to contact you last week and say, hey, it's time. We need your sharings. We need your energy. And I'm so grateful that you said yes on this 11:11 at 11 a.m. for you in the East Coast.
Yes.
So welcome, my sister.
Oh, thank you, Alex. Oh, you're getting me like I'm already getting teary. It absolutely. And thank you for trusting your guidance because I wasn't tuning into any of that. And I share when I'm guided to share and I went into retreat mode for sure because that
Mm.
was the guidance. Like, and before we begin, I would like to publicly address all of my friends, family, clients that have wondered where I've been and maybe felt, you know, my missing in action was, some kind of disconnect from them. And it's not. I do this work for all of us. And when they
Yeah.
guide me to go into hermit mode, and it was very isolating. And moved. Part of that guidance was moving to North Carolina, as you know, last year, and so yeah, it's been like what we're in November now, so it's been like 10 months of hibernation,
Yeah.
basically, and to go deeper in without the distractions. Um, Even like I said, even contacting family and friends and longtime clients that I love and my human misses dearly, and yet they're like, "That's not where your attention and energy gets to go right now. We need you to go deeper in." And so deeper into layers of clarity, surrender, um, rectification, but channeling so much light that was my full-time job. I mean, even my client schedule and shrink. And again, living in that level of alignment is full trust. And you've heard me say this before, Alex, like true faith is trusting without proof and evidence because our egos love proof and evidence. Like,
Mhm.
I'm going to have enough clients. There's going to be community. All these things that I was, my human was, anticipating with this move was completely opposite. Like
Yeah.
it was going into hermit mode and almost like a retirement, but it was
Mhm.
because I needed to go deeper into those layers of what they were asking me without distraction. And there was at the very beginning of the year, I felt very isolated. I mean, it's beautiful out here in the Blue Ridge Mountains um and very peaceful, and yet not having community or tribe. We've talked about this. Um, Family, friends, connection. It was isolating. And then when I tune in, they'd say, part of this is for your protection. And again, reiterating that deeper integration, going even deeper
Yeah.
into surrender, even deeper into um, unattachment. And that's a that's a big ask for our human egos. And what they shared with me about ego's will, because I had a friend not too long ago mention, well, you still have free will, and I didn't say anything because she didn't ask. And what they've shared with me about free will is free will was given so your human could have the experience. Would you still choose source? Would you still choose the divine? Because once we all came from source, we all came from the divine. So how would you know any distinction? How would you know anything else? Like the fish in the water, it only knows that until you give it a distinction. And we were that. Our essence was given free will by the illusion of separation. So we could choose. Will you still choose that connection? Will you still choose that oneness? Not what most humans think free will is. Oh, I can marry who I want. I can have this job or this car, or this house, or live here. It's like, yeah, my human's ego would love to live in another country. And they're like, nope, we need you over here on the East Coast. And I've never lived on the East Coast. And so it will take you out of your comfort zone for sure many times. And they've said that too. The human can handle hardship, especially having gone through the experience of Hurricane Helene and being a West Coaster and experiencing fires and um, earthquakes. I'd never experienced hurricanes, and it shook me, and it was absolutely to get that last bit of fear out. And they shared that too. This was everything is always for the highest and greatest good. And I've shared that with my clients. I say all interruptions, and it could be a personal interruption, an illness, uh, loss of a loved one, a job, a home, identity. All of those interruptions are designed by us, for us, our highest aspects, to get us to go deeper into that clearing, that healing, that alignment, that choice point of, yes, I do surrender. I do choose that oneness with divine, whatever that means, whatever that takes. And so they were very clear. They said, "You're." It was the aftermath of the hurricane, and there's no power, and so there's a lot of time to go deeper into that contemplation. And they said the human can handle hardships. It's the discomfort you don't like. And boy, was that true. Like, and and it was beautiful to see the resilience. And as I mentioned, everyone coming together immediately before the crews, before the National Guard, before anybody, utility companies or the military came out. It was the neighbors checking on each other. Everybody out here has a chainsaw, so they're clearing trees and backhoes and ATVs and tractors. And it was just, I mean, I just cried. I just cried at the beauty of this oneness. And so when I asked about, what's been going on in the world with the storms and climate change, there's so many layers to it. If we could focus on the 3D and say, oh, well, it's climate change, it's fracking, it's this and that, they're like, but the higher perspective, which again, I share with my clients, and the whole purpose of the work I do is to stay in that higher frequency and not, oh, it's all love and light. That's not what I mean by higher frequency. The higher frequency of the truth, of that all knowingness. And even when our human wants to judge it and say, oh, that was bad, that was horrible, these people lost their homes, they lost their lives, they lost everything, they said it was another awakening. And I saw that. I saw people from all over the country coming to help this region. I saw people that would never talk to each other for whatever views or upbringings or belief systems coming together. Do you need water? Do you need gas? Do you need propane? Do you need food? I I could cry just talking about it. And also being here in the middle of it. If you look at the region where I live, Asheville got a lot of attention. The other counties that followed, I'm right in the middle of them. And yet I was blessed. Yes, we had some flooding, and we lost probably like 50 trees on the property, and yet I had food. I'm on well. I didn't lose water. We lost power for about like 9 or 10 days in this area, but we had a generator. I mean, so many things um, that we were blessed and safeguarded and taken care of when there was so much destruction and death and just fear and confusion. And they're like, we need you to be here to ground that light. Because at first I was like, what the heck just happened? Is this an attack? Is this seems very violent and destructive? And they said yes, it was hijacked a little bit and was more destructive and aggressive and more dramatic than it probably needed to be. And they said, and still yet it is serving the highest and greatest good. So that, you know, just to put that out there, like what's going on, because it is an awakening. It's getting people's attention, much like COVID did, and people being quarantined. It was like, you can't deny it. It's in your face. It's all the ways we distract from ourselves. And it's like, there's no TV. We didn't even couldn't even contact anybody. There's no cell. There was no power. There was no internet. The internet just came on like a couple, I think, like a week ago.
Mhm.
So there was a lot of unknown what was even going on in our own neighborhoods and our own communities and in the surrounding counties,
Yeah.
unless you ventured out. You all outside of the area knew more about what was going on than we did. And that also too, like when I checked in, not having internet, they're like, it's also, they said part of it is also for my protection and to keep me um, out of that energy stream. It's like, you have a job to do here. And the massive quartz mountain that I live on is like one of the top mines for quartz, which goes into everything, cell
Mhm.
phones,
Yeah.
computers, all of that. Um, they're like, that is an amplifier. So I knew, I mean, it's called Mineral City out here, like
Mm.
for a reason. There's tons of crystals and minerals and everything. And yet, again, in my naivete, I didn't even really put that together. I just trusted the guidance, and then the confirmations always come afterwards. It's how I've received information for, half of my life now. And they're like, it's amplifying your energy and you're amplifying it. So we need you here. And
Oh,
and I felt like when the power was starting to get restored, the internet was coming back on, it felt um like that shift had solidified. And when
mhm.
you texted me, like I said, I wasn't even tuning into sharing or being public, because I really did take myself off of all, everything, and only worked with clients that they specifically need me to work with. And when you messaged me, I tuned in and I heard, yes, it's time. I'm like, oh, okay, what does that mean? That's exciting. And so last week during session, which this has never happened on any podcast, and and as you mentioned, you always have questions or notes. They had me channeling notes
Mhm.
specifically. I was, because they know it's not my ego or my human, like, oh, I want to talk about this, or I've got this new book or this new thing that I want to share, this new. No, I don't publicize what I do. I don't advertise what I do. Um, and that has been by design, keeping myself under the radar for the most part. And they have always sent me who is ready for this work, and to be able to share publicly, feels like a big deal. Like
Thank
it's safe to share, and so I just ask whatever it is that you want me to share. Thank you for allowing me to be that channel or that vessel. So there's definitely notes. They definitely wanted me to address the ego part. So again, it's not that the human is meant to go without, and yet anything that the ego or the human desires, if it's not in service of the oneness with the divine, then it's in service of human will or ego will. And that's not necessarily for the highest and greatest good. That's to serve self. So even like, okay, even like influencers, they're like, that's serving self, even if they're speaking with the highest, sharing, oh, they're sharing the light. It's like, you can share the light being a hairdresser, and sharing the light, touching someone's hair, holding space for them, what, because they want to talk. And that's the only time they can get stuff off their chest. There's so many ways to hold that light. And it doesn't have to be, you know, buy my supplements or, you know, listen to me, because if they said, if the human hasn't gone through the initiations of returning to innocence, that's why I always start my clients with inner child work. If you haven't integrated that foundation of innocence, then those higher levels of mastery will become distorted through the ego. I'm powerful, look at me, I'm an idol, I'm a guru, follow me. So all of that is coming down. And they said, now's the time to share. We're letting go of those those primal needs, those lower chakras. We are really entering into, ooh, giddy chills, entering into our higher divine aspects, which are more femininely driven. It is the return of the feminine. They said those pole shifts, you're talking about the earth going through cleansing. It's not the earth flipping upside down, it's the energetic poles, the polarities that this construct, this world operates out of, has been so out of balance and distorted through the distorted masculine ways. And that goes for all of us, male, female, doesn't matter what you identify with, what your preferences are. It is that congruency within. And if we're not leading, I say the masculine aspects gets things done, but the divine feminine aspects leads. So if you can look at ego as the fuel, I say the fuel for the car. The fuel's not driving the car. You're driving the car. But who's directing you? If is it your ego, you're going to make some wrong turns, guaranteed. Is it the divine? Then you're going to be right on course. Perfectly timed, synchronistic, beautiful landscape. That's living in alignment. And so the ego can be fuel once it's integrated, but if it's not integrated, it's going to create all kinds of drama, chaos, left turns, wrong turns, U-turns, distortion, distraction, dysfunction, dis-ease, disharmony, incongruency. And yet I say, even the ego works on behalf of the divine. If that means creating such self-sabotaging, self-destructive behaviors that we have seen play out through centuries, then that too is bringing us closer to our divinity, because it's breaking us down. It's uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable, destructive, and unhealthy. And yet, again, going back to all interruptions are designed by us, for us, to get us to that oneness. So going back to the polarities, they're like, this is the return of the divine feminine within all of us. Intuition leading, heart leading, that true divine connection versus compulsion, addiction, attachment, resistance, hate, fear, shame, greed, corruption, needs, wants. Like my ego fuels me to get on and share, to see my clients, to meditate, to whatever they ask me to do, to up and move across country. That's the fuel that propels my human, as long as she's staying in alignment with the divine. What do they want me to share next? Okay. All right. So I might have mentioned, I know I've mentioned this to you before, Alex, personally. I don't know if I've mentioned it on publicly. The prophecy, and it's been shared in many different forms. Hopi Indians, the Peruvian tribes, the Mayans have a version of this prophecy of the condor and the eagle. And I don't know if you've heard about this. And it's got different forms. When I asked how they would want me to share it, they said the eagle represented centuries of, moving towards industrial age, technology, manpower, building more, creating more. And it was very yang. And even when something was designed to, developed for something good, it was still got distorted because of that incongruency. And the condor representing the natural order. And they said when the two meet, and some tribes believe it's like, North America, South America, like the industrial and the more natural world. And they said that's part of it, but it truly is more the era And they said in the prophecy, if the two can meet and come together, it'll be like the age of Aquarius, because then technology can serve the natural order to make things better, cleaner air, cleaner water, cleaner fuels. And we're seeing that. And yet it's been like, oh, well, I'm not going to make enough money if I give everyone free energy. It already has been given and taken away how many times? So I had a dream many years ago. I mean, I still lived in California, so this is a long time ago. And I saw the condor and the eagle flying over. At first, the condor was chasing the eagle. I mean, it was so big, I thought it was an airplane in my dream, Alex, and it was huge. And, everyone's kind of looking like confused, in awe. And I'm standing in the back, and I see them like do a U-turn, come flying tandem in front of me, and they both turn their heads at the same time, almost like a salute. And I just started crying. Like I could feel it, and it felt very joyous. And so that premonition of like it's coming, it's going to happen. It took years to get here, and it's finally taking hold now, which is why I'm allowed to share. And so they said the two energies may cause some waves while they're harmonizing. And so and when I asked how best to navigate that, they said the same thing that you've been doing, maintaining that frequency. Don't drop into the 3D, because that will become your reality once again. So maintaining, and that's not a righteousness like I'm above it all. It's just maintaining that higher perspective where it's like, oh, when you go into worry, doubt, fear, oh, I need to take care of these people. It's like, no, that is still dropping your frequency. One of my clients is like, oh, but giving is loving. And I feel good when I give. I said, but is that more about you feeling good? Or is that more about, I say, if you can give with in neutrality, with unattachment, and yet the fact that you still feel, oh, I need to do this. If there's a need or want, that's an attachment, and that lowers the frequency. Again, the access to our light is inherent, it's already there. We kink up the hose, meaning that frequency cannot fully be integrated or anchored. When we distort it, we distort our own channels with doubt or fear. Oh, unconscious loyalties. Well, I need to do this because this is what my family needs me to do. Or I need to um, um, behave this way because this is what society expects of me. No, it's like, and that part again, whether you're male, female, or identify as something else, it doesn't really matter. It is that divine feminine that has been squelched and squashed within all of us, because that is that divine wisdom, that divine truth. And so it's like that again, that goes back to the those primal fears and shame. Well, I can't really share my truth because then I'll get ostracized, I'll get persecuted, I'll get hurt, I'll get rejected, I'll get abandoned. So healing those aspects first, that again is the wounded inner child, those subconscious or unconscious parts. Otherwise, it will distort that channel. Oh, I have to do this because I need to be viewed as a good person, or I need to be successful. It's like, no, you're dropping back into 3D, back into the ego's will versus divine will again. And I will share. You want me to share that? Yep. Okay. They gave me this many years ago. This was like 2017, Alex, and I think I've shared this with you. Um, I've shared this with all of my clients. They said, divine will, please replace my will. You can use that as a mantra, but it's even more congruent and faster if you write it out. So I will give that to my clients, my new clients at the beginning, and you can always revisit it. You can always use it as a mantra. Writing it out helps synthesize the left and right brain hemisphere so they can, again, bringing everything into alignment. Ego's will, well, I want this, or I want to do this, or I want to be this. And I had it too. I wasn't exempt. I remember asking the divine, like, this was years ago, like 2000, 16 or 17. I'm ready for, I'm pretty sure this is when this same the same message came through. I'm like, I'm ready for a bigger platform or to share more. Again, that whole, the influencer energy. And they said, "Oh, you think so, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm ready." They're like, "You're not ready." I was like, "What?" And they were absolutely right because again, it would have been born of ego. It's like, no. And then I went in the opposite direction. I'm like, I don't need anybody to know about me. Like, I really, for my own protection, for because I would, and I've had energetic attacks, I've had psychic attacks, I mean, I've been doing heavy duty, deep clearing of all kinds of things, and not just for clients and humans and the earth plane and land blessings, but the multidimensional since 2015
Yeah.
daily. I mean, it's a lot. And so going back to, staying in that alignment, like divine will, I say the right brain is your access point. So I get clients to start listening to their natural intuition. And for me, it started on the right side.
Mhm.
Even when I'd hear my higher aspects or source, whatever you want to call it, your innocence, your inner child, that creativity, that creation or creator aspect is right sided. Right brain is right. Left would be ego, analytical, linear, logical, fear, primal. They can coexist. This one has been more dormant in people because that's how we've been raised.
Mhm.
My creative clients, artists, musicians, singers, songwriters, painters, photographers, they are already more right brain. And yet they have that access, and yet fear, again, kinking up the hose, if they haven't healed that inner child, then that too will become distorted. Well, I have to create this, even though they've got this beautiful channeled gift, it becomes distorted. I have to make money doing this. I have to, not saying you're not going to make money doing your gifts, but if money is your first priority, it taints the creation. So, and that goes with anything, as you know.
Yeah.
Like I had, a friend out west, oh, I'm going to build this big yoga retreat center, and it was her yang that was driving it, and it was done and gone in less than 6 months. And I told her, I said, if it's not created for the divine, if it's not created out of that, that innocence, that alignment, it will fail. And that has been proven time and time again. And so, again, we're letting go of those primal needs and wants to really serve in that way. And yes, you're human. I'm proof and evidence. Your human will be taken care of. You have to go back to that faith. True faith is trusting without proof and evidence. Your divine aspects want you to have everything, and yet want you to be attached to nothing.
Yeah.
That's when it shows up. So,
So, Rose, I'm gonna pause you here just to
perfect.
bring a little bit, if that's okay, just
Mhm.
to bring a little context more in the 3D so we can help a lot of people listen because I know what you mean. I want to, you know, refresh if people haven't listened to our previous podcasts. Um, I want to just share very quickly with everyone the light that you hold. And this is not about saying you are chosen to hold this light. I just want to remind that everyone can raise their frequency and hold that
Yes.
very high lights. You being using your free will said yes to the divine, so you being, we can say, in an accelerated path. And because of that, when I was in your presence in Sedona in 2020, as you know, was my initiation. So I just want to remind the people listening to this that you do hold very strong light. My initiation started with you, and it keeps going. And I'm bringing this part of initiation because I am feeling that this, let's say, this election time was another huge marker like COVID, where there's a lot of polarization during COVID. And also during COVID was a lot of people start awakening. My great awakening really
Yeah.
started in 2020, 2021 with the COVID
Yes.
because I started watching things and scratching my head and really having this gut feeling something is not right here and I'm not gonna find the answers on the media. I'm not going to find the answers from doctors, from the politicians. I have to go in. And it was one of the biggest blessings of my life.
Yes.
So fast forward, I feel like there's another initiation that kind of happened last week. I felt a huge shift of energy a couple days before the election, where I tap into an incredible new level of joy.
Yes.
And it didn't matter to me who was going to win.
Yeah.
I was just like in this place that completely detached from the elections. And then the results came. And of course, the polarization got even louder.
Mhm.
And I want to share this powerful dream I had. I had a dream 3 nights ago, 4 nights ago. And just to be neutral here, I wasn't particularly picking any of the major candidates. I was choosing a third party that, so I wasn't picking any of the major candidates. And I had a dream where I was walking, holding hands with Donald Trump. Like we were friends. There was this energy. What really matters about the dreams is the what is the emotion, what is the energy around. And there was this, he's my brother.
Mhm.
And I carry Trump, I carry Kamala inside me, I carry everyone. So I'm bringing this up because I am seeing a lot of people coming together. And I love that you describe your experience with the hurricanes because everyone came together. Nobody cared about your voting choice, political views, your gender, your
Nope.
sexual preference, because this is our nature. And we're going to continue creating this, as you say, aggressive events for our so our divine can really wake us up. And I
Yeah.
said, well, if you don't hear the whispers of the divine,
Yep.
we have to get hit by a 2x4. And I'm starting to like, we can change this. We don't need
Yeah.
to have 2x4s anymore. We can
No.
create this reality of we can grow and evolve without all this suffering. There is that option.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
let's bring it together now. For the people, I know a lot of people have gone through tremendous emotions last week. They still going, and I want to honor their emotions. And I know a lot of that is also trying to heal the inner child because
Yeah.
a lot of unprocessed anger, a lot of
Yeah.
unprocessed guilt and shame is getting projected through
Yep.
politics. So
Yep.
let's talk about that, really how to use this moment for even a great awakening, because some people are seeing this as the dark ages are coming, and I'm
No.
seeing this as, oh, new earth is here.
Yeah,
So let's
absolutely.
talk about
Oh,
that.
yes. I love that you said that too, because the very top of the channel. And when you had that dream, that's when I channeled that this was 4 days ago. This was Thursday. Yes. And I woke up and I said, there is this level of joy and excitement, more joy and peace than I have experienced. And they said that light is reflecting.
Yes.
Ooh, getting like tingles all through my body.
Yeah, it's a completely new level of joy
Yes.
that I never felt before.
No. And given everything that's, I mean, I did have immense gratitude, like I said, Hurricane Katrina, I mean, excuse me, that was another that, that was plenty of awakenings, but this one definitely like um hit home because there is a level of disassociation. Like they had me say Hurricane Katrina for a reason because I was living out west when that happened, and that was devastating. And yet there is a certain level of disassociation. Oh, that's happening in another state, or that's happening in another country. Like we don't think about it. And I've experienced that with, with some of my own friends and family. And it's like this was frightening and horrible. And yet again, I knew there was a bigger purpose. And they said it's hard to imagine when you're not in it, when you haven't experienced it. And going back to what you said, when I realized we don't have to learn through hardships, we don't have to suffer the consequences if we can remember through love. So I started changing that, a handful of years ago. It's like I choose not to learn through consequences anymore because I kicked my own ass many, many times to get on this path, like repeatedly. And I said, I choose to remember through love because we already know all of this. This is, like you said, we are all divine channels. But they said you're either channeling more pain, more aggression, more fear, more shame, more incongruency into the collective field, or you're channeling more light, more love, more peace, more joy, more ease, more grace. And that was 4 days ago. And I don't even have, I don't watch news. And like I said, I haven't been on social media or anything. So that was part of my going. And so I didn't know, I didn't follow any of that. It doesn't matter to me because, again, that's more the 3D. And yet, going to what you said, hitting it home one more time, everything is for our highest and greatest good. So if that triggered you, that's where the healing is. That's where the healing, that's the root of that individual or that group or whatever's deeper healing resides. So if you, like you said, you're holding hands with another reflection, they said that exactly those words. I wrote it right here. That's the light reflecting your light. So if you're triggered and you're pissed and you're scared, then that's also reflecting your fear, your shame, your hurt, your parts and pieces that are calling and screaming and needing and wanting your love and attention. Not Big Daddy in the sky, not President who and X and Y and Z. It does not matter because they are playing the role you assign them. And they told me this many years ago. I've been holding on this one for a long ass time, Alex. They said light workers, even light workers, don't really want disclosure. They don't even want the truth. And I said, why not? They said, because they've contributed. You all have contributed. And so trying to say, oh, they're the bad guys, we're the good guys, we're the light, they're the, nope. You have been everything and then some, things you can't even imagine. This is reconciliation. They said, and the reason that humans, you came here with, whether you want to say you're awake or not awake, you have awareness, not awareness, doesn't matter. They said the human experience, because the humans have such powerful intention in the physical, like they're showing me like the mother, you've probably heard this story, the mother whose child gets, stuck under a car or hit, and this incredible strength. They said the intention, was she physically that strong? You'll never know. It was the intention to get to her child that made that possible. They said the intention behind humans is so powerful. Other races do not have that. They envy us. They will try and bribe you. I've had clients contact me. They're like, there's this being that wanted me to create worlds for them. And I was like, absolutely. And she goes, you were there. She's not even a client of mine. She's like, you were there instantly with me. Like, no, no, no. That's how powerful we are. We're not taught that. We're taught the opposite. So when that so-and-so on TV or on the news or in your hometown triggers the shit out of you, ask why. Go deeper. Like you said, all of this was designed for us to go deeper. You can label it COVID. That's why I say interruption. You can label the interruption divorce, disease, car accident, election, hurricane. It does COVID. It doesn't matter. It's just a label because, again, you designed it to get your attention. Well, how can I sharpen my tools if I got nothing to sharpen them on, Alex? They said that to me many years ago too. They're like, your higher self is bringing it to your doorstep. Now it's in your face. The primal yang, distorted, me first, win at all costs is done. That's not going to get us anywhere. It's done. It's destroying each other. It's destroying the earth. We've been doing this for eons. It wasn't like it was a human thing. We've carried this from other lifetimes. It's just progressed because it never got healed, never got rectified. This is it. When I was in Sedona, I was in a mood, and sometimes I have been known to talk back to source, and I was like, look, we get it. It's an illusion. We've co-created this mess. Like, this game has got to stop. We know it's a game. It's a game. Just end the game. And they said loud and clear, we are through you. And I just started laughing.
We are for you, they said.
We are through you.
Oh, through
You're
you,
going to
yes.
end this game. But if you're not willing to end the game through you, through your context, then the construct plays out all around you. And they said that is part of the reflection. That's why you are experiencing joy, because you have raised your frequency. You have done that healing to shift, because that is a ripple effect. It's not about, oh, I need to influence others and wake others up. No, you are that powerful that your energy is carrying through. They said, where's that? Here it is. Your maintenance of that frequency automatically sprouts more light in every direction. It's like seeds. And I saw that working with my longtime clients last the last couple weeks. It was like those seeds um, of the divine. And I had this dream where I pulled this thing out of my pocket, and it looked like a crusty, dusty old like flower bulb, and it had a big hat pin sticking out of it. And I was like, wow, I don't know it. And there was a display, like a little architect's display, like when they're going to do like a model of like a park or a venue. And it was in the dream, and I just put it on. You know, it was on display. I put it on, you know, on the table on this rendering. And I woke up and I asked about it, and they said, "You pierced that seed pod." I said, "Why did it look so crusty and old?" And they said, "It's been waiting a long time." And so I was like, all right, let's channel cracking that thing open altogether. And my clients were seeing seeds flying, like these golden seeds going into everything. And then they showed me like a pool, like a friend, like it was like a soul family in another dream had dug this big, huge um, pool, but like in the shape of a bathtub, but it was in the earth. It was beautiful, and I thanked her. And when I asked about it, they said, go deeper. So we went deeper into the pit, like the pits of hell, the pit in your stomach, the hard pit. This was different than the seed. The hard pit is the stuff no one wants to talk about. I don't want to look at it. Take another pill, take another drink, take another puff. Like that is what really needed to be addressed and acknowledged, much like loving and acknowledged the inner child. This was the most wounded, shamed, scared, hurt, traumatized parts. And when we went in there with all that light ablazing, trust me, there was barriers. There was dark that's like, nope, you're not getting here. And it was like, boom, 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 boom. Get to that pit. And it was like, you know what I saw? A man. I saw that male energy. And again, it's not just men, because we've all been men. And I had a lot of yang. We all know this. So it was that masculine just curled up like a scared child in the fetal position. And we just surrounded that energy with love. And that was even more powerful than the seeds sprouting light. It was like fireworks sprouting light. And I'm seeing that. I'm seeing that with, you know, my own partner who's male, friends and clients that have more masculine energy or more yang. They're going through deep surrender right now. And it's on display, like, cannot hide it. Physically being brought to that place of surrender and that softening. And that is the divine feminine. And I saw that divine feminine like kind of rising like a phoenix. And it's not like, oh, just hail women. No, like I said, women that operate out of a lot of yang and haven't healed the inner child or embrace that those aspects carry that distortion too. I was very yang in business, like screw them before they screw you. Like that was because I wanted to fit into a male dominated industry, and I did, and I was very successful. On the outside, on the inside, I was killing myself, and so my inner child blew that world up, and I've shared that many times. So they're like, let Alex share before we go into the next part.
Okay.
They're operating this whole thing. It's just
I
like, yeah,
I love
we
it.
just show up. Yeah,
I never held back and stay quiet so long in the podcast, and
I
I'm
love it.
trusting, and that's the reason I didn't have any notes for this episode, because I really want the guide, spirit, source to be sharing, and at the same time, help this message to resonate with people who are having a very 3D experience right now. Well, first of what I love, and of course is it's duh for us, everything that you described that you've been going through in the last few months, I've been going through myself as well, because when we start tapping into these frequencies, high love frequencies, it's like we all start tapping into the exactly same information, same wisdom. For me, it's I've been going through destruction of this yang energy. Now I don't mean it's going to destroy, but it's really destruction of the doer, because I basically have gone through major losses, business, money, having, many nights like, oh my God, am I gonna be poor? Am I gonna be a homeless? Because I was still operating from that doer, the ego.
Sure.
And it took me tremendous surrender. And I shared this in my previous podcast last week with Glacier Rain, that now I can look back and say, I am glad I didn't manifest from those energies that I was trying to manifest, because we're still fear driven. We're
Mhm.
still trying to prove that I can do it. And I didn't manifest from those energies. And it forced me down on my knees again. And I'm sharing this because, people can be hearing us talking about this joy that we're experiencing, this excitement that we're experiencing. And I want to remind everyone, there has been a lot of tears, a lot of despair,
Oh,
a lot of fear, a lot of guilt
a lot of death,
behind the curtains, a lot
lots
of
of death.
death,
Oh
and
my
literally
gosh.
destruction of the structures of the ego. And again, we're not destructing any masculine energy, we're
No, it's a
destructing the doer.
dismantling, but
It's a
it does
dismantling.
feel destructive to those parts that have only known that way. So, like, as I'll say, like, you can handle the hardships. It's the discomfort you try to avoid, and so it's being comfortable in the discomfort.
It is.
That was
And
the hard part for me. Yeah.
last thing I'm gonna share before I take the microphone back to you is that a lot of women are starting to reach out again, women high achievers who have been operating with this very masculine energy you and I know very well, and they are hitting the exhaustion point.
Hmm.
They're starting to develop,
It's not
weird
sustainable. No.
symptoms and conditions. They're exhausted. They're operating from anxiety, from fear, from a lot of control, and they starting to really asking for help, which is a good thing. And I want to share this message because I know a lot of people, men and women, will be listening to this. And yeah, I want to share that there is a much better way of doing things, and it's going to involve some dismantling and some death. So speak more about
Some
that.
surrender. Yes, it is. There's a graceful way. So I've shared this with you. They told me many years ago. They said you needed to know disgrace so you could learn grace, and grace is my name. It's on my birth certificate. It's not, some spiritual tagline. Um, and boy, that was true. And yes, it for those other parts of us that are listening to this, we have been through death and destruction many times. Like, the old version of me has would not even recognize this version of me. And yet we are returning to that authentic eminence and essence, that innocence, that grace, that love, that peace, that tranquility. That is bliss. Even when you and trust me, I didn't get into this work because I was trying to be spiritual by any means. I got into this work for quite the opposite, because I was so tired of suffering and I didn't know any other way. It was like die or heal. And it's like, so it is, like I said, you could go the graceful route. So reaching out, getting a coach, um, start meditating, breath work, integrating something, adopting something, just intending. I ask and intend for ease and grace, just intending. Like I said, humans' intention is so powerful. And yet, when you haven't dealt with the unconscious part of the subconscious part, the fear and the shame, those deeper pits, um, it'll just be a negative loop, just recreating itself until you've had enough. But that's also that free will. I choose. I'm done. I'm taking myself off this hamster wheel. No more karmic cycles, no more reincarnation, no more, negative thoughts and addictions and habits. I had all of it. I had to. We had to. So giving those parts grace, I love all those parts. I deeply and humbly surrendered to all of those parts because it all is all me. As long as we're holding some part hostage or separate or judging it, whether it's another version out there or another piece in here, it's all the same, it's all connected. We will have to revisit it. It'll just keep showing up. So it's like how many more divorces or how many more breakups or how many more death cycles. This is for all of us. This is the collective purge. And we can do it with grace. We could do it with love. Or you can keep creating, like I said, the ego is an endless gas tank. It's just going to keep running you into that brick wall. How about now? How about now? It's like we can remember through love. We don't have to keep learning through consequences of pain and suffering. And so when we were connecting, when the notes and the channels came through, at the very bottom it says podcast to share now and to add to website. This last part, I'll share the podcast on my website. I have not updated that website. I haven't been on it. I haven't done nothing. And they told me when. I was like, I don't even look like those pictures on that podcast, on that website anymore. They're like, doesn't matter. Nobody needs to know. Like, we're sending you who needs to see you, and that's fine. And I do. Again, I trust that. Again, completely opposite of everything that we've been told, right? And yet it's always right. So we've already talked about that. You want to talk about this? Yes. Okay. So attuning to this frequency, how we saw it was those highest aspects of us. I call it like the family of light. Have always been there. But again, when our frequency is down, or we're in our shit, or we're negative, or we're judging, or fearing, or whatever, we're unable to connect. We're unable to see. And I asked, let me, I asked to see. And in order to see, it's kind of like your higher aspects are like, we got the goods, like we got it all lined up for you, but we're going to ask you to give up this. And this is all the attachments, all the stories, my identity, my needs, my wants. It's not saying forsaking everything. I still, pay my bills. I still make food. I still clean my house. And yet I literally asked, like, I was pulling linoleum the other day, restoring this house. And I was like, you want me to do this now? Yes. Okay. How about this? No. You want me to stop and eat now? Yes. Okay. Like, I stay in alignment because it keeps me clean. It keeps me from going on autopilot, which the ego's like, oh, well, we got this to do. We got that to do, or call mom back. And it's like, no, this is so practicing living in alignment. So when we were asking about this joy and this reflection of light, the family of light showed up, which was our reflections. And so they want me to share this, which I have never done on a podcast before. It's kind of like those higher versions. The word adopt came out when I was channeling. Those higher versions adopting us. Like, you take care of your inner child. You are the inner child to the, oh, I get chills. It has not been easy, girl. Okay. So thank you. So anybody listening, or excuse me, not even listening, they said, take out even that. They said, anyone tuning in, because you can tune in with your intention energetically. You don't need to hear, you don't need to see. They're like, your intention is everything, and everything follows your intention. So your intention to connect in that way, to be made whole, to be returned to all parts of you. It's not something outside of you, it is you. And yet we've separated from ourselves. We've disconnected from ourselves. We say, oh, they abandoned me. They abandoned me. You don't know how hard it was. Yes, we do, because we've played all roles. We've been the punisher, we've been the victim. Nobody's separate. And yet we keep perpetuating that illusion of separation, then that's the reality we're going to experience.
Yeah.
I'm different. I need to be heard. Well, then listen to those parts of yourself. That's the part that really needs to be heard. So we're calling in the family of light to reconnect, to bring congruency. I saw it as an orbital, like holding hands. They're like, just do it, Rosanne. Okay, sorry. Trying to explain it. So this is
Let's
for
go
everybody
there.
who's willing to connect and feel and intend um, that completion, so you can experience what Alex and I have been talking about, that joy and that peace and that true embrace, that true homecoming to those parts of yourself, to that authentic light that you are. So thank you, thank you, thank you. With the deepest, absolute, unconditional love, reverence, respect, and gratitude, we call upon all, any, and every aspect, piece, part, nuance, echo, reverberation, expression, experience, eminence and essence, cores of all of our inner child, all forms and formless of our inner children, all aspects of our highest light, our families of light. Our highest awareness, our highest consciousness, our highest beingness, our purest, authentic states of awareness, innocence, love, light, peace, joy, and congruency, to please be with us now, joining us as one, seeing and feeling them, holding you, embracing you, surrounding you, creating this beautiful orbital frequency as you are adopted back into yourself, into your own natural light, flow, rhythm, authenticity, claiming complete and absolute, pure, perfect, pristine, precious, permanent, and perpetual illumination, synthesis, synchronicity, sanctifying you, unifying you, purifying you, harmonizing you, optimizing you. Returning all parts to innocence, to pure presence, pure perfection, pure ease, pure grace, pure love, pure light. Returning all parts home again, once and for all, now and forever. All you have to do is ask and intend, and it shall be done. It is already done. It is already commanded, and it is done. It is already completed, and it is done. It is already obeyed, and it is done. It is already consecrated, and it is done. It is already realized, and it is done. It is already actualized, and it is done. It is already sanctified, and it is done. It is already synthesized, and it is done. It is already synchronized, and it is done. It is already fortified, and it is done. It is already fulfilled, and it is already done. It is already blessed, and it is done. It is already confirmed, and it is done. It is already manifested, and it is done. It is already made manifest, and it is done. It is already claimed, and it is done. It is already proclaimed, and it is done. It is already testified, and it is done. It is already authorized, and it is done. It is already testified, and it is done. It is already loved, and it is done. It is already illuminated, and it is done. It is already completely completed, honored, obeyed, respected. loved, deemed done and done. It is already done. It is already done. It is already done. It is already done, and so it is. And it is so. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank
Thank you for the family of light, and thank you for
you.
this channeling for all of us.
Thank you. My pleasure, love.
Yeah.
Ooh, beautiful. Anything else? Is there anything else that you'd like to share? Anything else? Anything else you'd like to ask, Alex?
Let's ask your guides to share a message to our brothers and sisters who are really needing a message of faith. I like the word faith better than hope.
Mm-hmm. Same.
Faith, faith, like how how can we help our brothers and sisters? I know the answer by being the light. But for those just, starting this work and they want to find that strength, they want to take these words that we share and that you share, and yet there's a lot of separation resistance inside them to really embrace this truth because of their fears. So whatever the guides can share with them, especially those afraid of these next 4 years, let's say, share a message for to them.
I have shared this with most of my clients and some of my um, friends and loved ones. So I'm invited to share this. I just shared it again this morning. So they're like, share this. If you are struggling, whatever it is, and as you know, it's not out there. It's a call. It's a it's a big wave. It's an invitation to go in. Please write this down. Please repeat this. Use it every day. I deeply and humbly apologize to all parts of my mind, body, heart, soul, energy, essence, and all aspects of my inner child. I surrender to my authentic love, light, and innocence. Please forgive me. I love you. I thank you.
Wow, how beautiful. How beautiful.
It's so quick. If you authentically mean it, it's the intention is everything. But
It's
we
the
have
whole
we
instant.
have for it's instant. The more you do it, the more you can. I mean, clients have been with me for years. It doesn't matter if there's a new piece that came up. You're like, oh, there's there's some part that I didn't acknowledge. This goes for any. You can keep it general. You can make it specific. 5 years old. 18 years old. Um, that part that I abandoned, that part that used and abused another part of me, that part that negated or disrespected another. It doesn't matter. It's all us. So love and honor. It could be a past life. There's clients that are like, I had this dream that keeps recurring. I'm like, that's another part of you that's still looking for reconciliation. You're bringing all parts home, like we just did. That's our family of light. We are the family of light, returning. That's it. So
Thank
yes,
you, my
please use
sweet.
that, and I'll send that to you so you can include it. And anybody, please feel free to utilize it and share
I would
what
love
you
it.
like. Thank
Well,
you, my
this
love.
feels like a great place to stop this
Yep.
beautiful channeling, this prayer. I see as a prayer,
Yeah. As I
as
said,
a
prayer and mantra to my friend this morning who was experiencing that.
yeah, as a purification,
Yeah.
as how healing can happen a holy instant, and then you just allow the body to
Mhm.
purify, to cleanse. It might be through tears,
Yeah.
might be through some screaming in the pillow because the anger needs to come out.
Oh
Might
yeah, you may purge, you may poop,
you
you may
purge.
barf,
So
you
I
may
just want
cry.
to
Like
remind everybody,
you're clearing it cellular.
energetically,
Yeah,
yeah,
you're clearing everything.
energetically, you heal in an instant. and then you just need to
Yeah.
give the body some time to just purge and
And catch
trust
up.
that
Yeah.
the body knows what to do. The intelligent body
Absolutely. Integrate
knows
that. Oh yeah.
what to
Things are
do.
being expelled and I'm like I said, I'm seeing it and it don't panic is my first thing. It is a purging process. So could be through the skin, could be the mucous membrane, could be, again, don't get attached to that. You keep using this. I deeply and humbly apologize for holding on to this fear for so long or this anger for so long. You could use it for um, I deeply and humbly apologize for judging that person for so long or resisting that reflection,
Mhm.
that family member, whatever it is. Again, it's not for anybody else. It is for you. It's all you,
It's all you.
for you.
Yeah.
So liberating those parts of you and welcoming those parts home, all of them. The scariest, distorted, most shameful parts are the parts that need the pit, that needs the love the most.
Mm.
So love it all. Thank you. Thank you for
Well,
allowing this to be my return.
welcome back, my sister. And I will share
Thank you.
your contact
Sure.
information, your Instagram, in case you call to
Yeah.
keep sharing more content. And I know there's some even old content on your account that can really benefit everyone. So
Thank you.
before we say goodbye, is any last message you want to share?
Yes. At the very top. I was like, they said, remember at the very top of those notes, they said, everything gets amplified with gratitude and love. So the
Mm,
more so whatever that intention is, you're going on a job interview, really saturate that intention with gratitude and love. Again, it doesn't matter what it is, it's the frequency of that gratitude and love that maintains that. It's it's huge.
thanks for that. I am the proof of that because in the last few weeks, I have been practicing gratitude to a whole new level where I say,
Yes.
Source, I use the word God. I say, God, I receive everything you give me. I receive
Yes.
every single thing you give me. It's grief right now, it's sadness, it's anger. I receive everything. So there's this deep love of gratitude. And I think that has helped me to get to this space of more joy and more
Oh
gratitude.
yeah, you
More,
cultivate more. Absolutely.
I
The
have
more you,
purged
yeah.
more grief, and the more you purge, the more room we make for this beautiful
Oh yeah.
light to occupy this space, and we need to make space for the light. That's why purging
Absolutely.
is so
That's thank
important.
you for bringing that up actually because they did I woke up one morning and it felt like a funnel in my crown and it was activations can be uncomfortable just so you all know.
Mhm.
As Alex said that there's a purging process and then there's an integration process. So the integration of more light, well if the purging doesn't happen then you can't be the bearer of that light. It's again kinking up the hose or gunking up the pipe. This was such a clean funnel or like beam right through that it was, my head was tender for a couple of days. I'm not gonna lie. And one of my longtime clients, she just messaged me this morning. She's like, I saw this, and I didn't tell anybody about this. Like I said, I haven't shared until today. So she said, I saw this light come in and there was just like a blast of light, like there was no me. And I said, that is the frequency that we're maintaining. That's available to all of us if you're willing to do the work. And she said it really shifted for her um, when because we've worked on discipline and a lot of people don't like that word. And yet we'll use a different word. They said dedication and devotion. If you're dedicated and devoted to your peace, your well being, your love, your joy, your gratitude, then, like you said, Alex, I love and receive whatever that is. Then you're open, you're not blocking, you're not putting preferences. Oh, well, I prefer they're like even and they called me out years ago. This was in 21. They said, even your preferences are a form of resistance, Rosanne. I was like, shoot, yes, I got it. Okay. So being completely open to receive. You are the receiver and the deliverer. So again, no one's punishing you. This isn't um to cause more pain and suffering. The resistance or the attachment, again, two sides of the same coin, attachment and resistance. We create the pain and suffering the longer we choose to hold out in that space. Or you can go into deeper gratitude and surrender. The
Yeah.
sooner you surrender, the bit so uncomfortable going through it. Trust me, I know. I lost count how many times I've done this. And yet it's always propelling you to that higher frequency until you are the clearing, you are the love, you are the light, you are the maintenance of that frequency, you are the emanation, you are the essence. That's the return. And so, yes, now that it like that seed has been cracked, this is available to everybody. It's rippling out and we're feeling it. And the it's more it'll be more graceful if that is your intention. And yet again, I say, however it needs to go down is perfect. And I had to learn the hard way,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yet
Here.
I teach a more graceful way. So
Yeah.
thank
Same
you.
here.
Absolutely. Thank you, love. It's
Thank you
been an
so much,
honor.
love. I feel honored that you came out of the closet, came out of the cave, coming
Totally.
to
It
rebranding
is, yeah, the
Goddess
cave for
first
sure.
podcast, and I can't wait to keep following your journey and keep
I'm
sharing
excited now. I know.
our notes in this journey. And I love to see that. I talk to other great light workers as well, people doing this work, and we all tapping again into the same information, because in that frequency you're gonna all get the same
Yeah.
message, which is direct from source. It's love, it's unity, it's neutrality,
Yeah.
it's we coming together, and I'm very excited about these times. Very
Me
excited.
too.
So thank you, my love.
Thank you.
I'll
Thank
talk
you,
to you again
sweetheart. All
soon.
right. Love
Love
you.
you.